right now on Denver 7. Surging demand, staffing shortages, and severe weather, all throwing July 4th travel plans off course. The great lengths airlines are going to get travel back under control. And a busy holiday weekend expected in the Denver metro area as Coloradans celebrate closer to home. The message for parks and wildlife if you're hitting the lake. Plus, advice for people enjoying 4th of July parties in their own backyard. Something to keep in mind as you're serving up drinks to friends and family of all ages.
Good morning and welcome to Denver 7 News. I'm Jessica Crawford. Thank you so much for joining us on this 4th of July holiday weekend. Taking a look outside right now over Civic Center Park, where tomorrow night the city of Denver will have a fireworks display to celebrate the holiday. Let's get on over to meteorologist Stacey Donaldson first to get a check of your fireworks forecast this weekend. Stacey?
It looks beautiful out there this morning. Our temperatures mostly in the 50s and 60s here for the Front Range and the Eastern Plains. We have 60 degrees downtown right now, 64 in Ray, and 59 for Colorado Springs, with mostly 40s up through the higher elevations. And we're on our way to 90 degrees this afternoon here in Denver, with 90s all the way up into northeastern Colorado, a little warmer up towards Sterling and Fort Morgan. We'll also have 70s up into the foothills and the higher elevations. So 91 degrees in Littleton today, 90 in Denver, and 91 in Aurora. We'll have a chance for a few scattered afternoon thunderstorms. I do think those will be earlier in the afternoon versus at the point we'll be seeing fireworks into tonight. So we're looking good there. Our high country planner, if you're headed up into the mountains around 10,000 feet, temperatures will be in the 60s for much of the day with scattered thunderstorms later this afternoon. We'll talk more about that 4th of July forecast coming up.
Stacey, thank you. As the 4th of July holiday weekend kicks off with a boom at airports across the U.S., travelers continue to experience canceled flights and thousands of delays. U.S. air travel is likely to set a pandemic-era record at least once over this weekend. ABC News' Christine Sloan has more.
Just as the holiday weekend kicks off across America, a bump in the road for thousands of travelers. Several major airports implementing ground stops, with severe weather slamming some parts of the country Friday.
As soon as we got to the airport, the flight was canceled.
The surging number of passengers and pandemic-related staffing shortages also to blame.
We had a flight cancellation, but we got rebooked and are kind of hustling to our plane right now.
We're staying on our toes, knowing that there might be changes, even last minute.
Rescheduled for 4:30 to get in at midnight. So we have a long day at the airport.
Delta, American, and United cutting back flight schedules for the next 2 months with insufficient staffing. Delta even offered 8 passengers on one overbooked flight $10,000 cash for their seats, as the airline also deals with pilots picketing over pay and scheduling.
We've now flown more overtime in the first 6 months of this year than we did in 2018 and 2019 combined. And in those years, those were record years for the airline industry.
Delta vowing to continue hiring several hundred employees weekly. They're also bringing in corporate employees to help at major airports this weekend. The TSA keeping 1,000 additional agents on standby if needed. Meanwhile, the roads are also seeing a surge in travelers, an estimated 42 million people opting to drive this year. Though gas prices are lower than last week, on average, a gallon of gas costs $4.84, the most of any July 4th ever. AAA with this tip for drivers.
Realize that those gas stations that are closest to the highway exits will always be the most expensive. So if you take that exit and then drive down the road a mile or so to that gas station there, it will tend to be cheaper.
Christine Sloan, ABC News, New York.
And many Coloradans are opting to stay in town instead, but they're still getting out of the house to flock to popular boating spots and swim beaches like Chatfield Reservoir. And that's where we find Denver 7's Christian Lopez with a look at what people can expect this weekend and a message to visitors from Colorado Parks and Wildlife. Christian?
Good morning, Jessica. It is beautiful out here, and 4th of July weekend is in full swing. So take a look at this view behind us. It is incredible. We're already seeing some people out here on boats. We've seen some jet skis and some people fishing this morning as well. This is a very popular area, and thousands of people are expected to hit the water here today. And if that's you and you're planning on coming out here, there are some things to keep in mind. Staff at Chatfield will be working extra hard today to accommodate guests and keep everyone safe this holiday weekend. so they're asking you to be patient with them. Around this time of the year, they do see around 10,000 people a day, and that number could be even higher this year as people are starting to feel more comfortable going out after the pandemic. So it is important to be mindful of that this weekend, and if the park does get too full, officials say that risks natural resource damage and people might actually get turned away.
Our staff is going to be working very hard to do what's best for public safety and to protect the natural resources out there at the park. Folks should know if the park does fill to its capacity, the park will have to turn people away, regardless of if part of that group is already inside or if they just ran out to pick up something.
Yeah, so if you do plan on heading out here this morning, make sure that you come out early so you can secure a spot and have a backup plan in case they do fill up. And of course, if you come out, make sure that you bring plenty of water and sunscreen. Live this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Christian, thank you. Bear Creek Lake Park is anticipating record crowds this weekend. Officials say access to the beach and marina there can close as early as 11 a.m. So they are reminding people to get to the park early. You need an annual pass or to pay a $10 fee to get in. The park saw 5,000 people over the 4th of July weekend last year. If you're hosting a 4th of July party, make sure to pay attention to who's drinking alcohol. Social hosts might have to pay for damages if they knowingly serve alcohol to someone underage and that person injures someone else or damages their property. For example, if that young person drives off and gets in a car crash.
Some of the practical reasons is that we know that minors aren't as equipped to make proper decisions. And so that's why there's a responsibility for adults when it comes to the behavior of minors. And in regards to the safety risk, you don't want people who are drinking to be driving.
You could also face criminal charges if you encourage a minor to break the law. Something to keep in mind beyond the holiday weekend, minors in Colorado are only allowed to drink alcohol in a private place like a home with consent from their parents. And if you're looking to catch a traditional fireworks show for the 4th of July holiday, Denver 7 is collecting a list of displays across the state that are happening as places cancel shows for wildfire risk. Lafayette will have a display today, and so will Littleton. The city of Denver will feature fireworks, food, and outdoor activities for tomorrow. And Aurora's annual 4th of July Spectacular returns Monday on the 4th. For a complete list of activities all throughout the weekend across the state, head on over to our website, thedenverchannel.com. Any Avs fan who didn't get a chance to make it to the parade and see your favorite players in person this weekend, hey, not to worry, there's another chance. The Dick's Sporting Goods store at Park Meadows will host autograph signings with Avs defenseman Erik Johnson and captain Gabe Landeskog. So grab your favorite jersey or other gear and a Sharpie. Erik Johnson will be at Dick's today from 3 to 5. Wristbands will be handed out at 9. Landeskog will be there tomorrow from 1 to 2:30 with wristbands handed out at 10. You can also watch the parade in full again this afternoon at 1 on Local 3.
Hello and welcome to the first weekend. Your Avalanche are Stanley Cup champions. I'm Nick Rothschild, and with parade noise still ringing in my ears, trust me, I'd be happy to spend the rest of the summer celebrating. But the off-season waits for nobody, and I guarantee you Joe Sakic, he's already thinking repeat. Good news is most of the Avs roster is locked in for the future. Your McKinnons, Landeskogs, Makars. But you do have question marks, most notably Nazem Kadri, who stands to make a bunch of cash if he wants to as an unrestricted free agent. Valeri Nichushkin and Darcy Kemper will also hit the open market. It's worth considering as well. This may have been the last flight of the Condor. Erik Johnson finally lifting the cup may see this as his John Elway moment, right off into the sunset. After winning the cup in Tampa, I asked Alex Newhook what the future may look like for himself and these Avs.
Being in my first year and getting to experience all this, winning's one thing, but hopefully have a long career and know what it's like to get here and to win, and something I can carry with me forever.
And now to the hellish wasteland that is college football. It's becoming downright apocalyptic as every school fends for themselves, fighting against encroaching reparations and grabbing at every last dollar they can while still in power. Thursday, USC and UCLA bolted from the Pac-12 to the Big Ten for a spot in the future Super League. And for the Big Ten, gives them a foothold in the LA market. Reports indicate Oregon, Washington, also likely to follow suit. So where does that leave our Golden Buffaloes? The so-called Conference of Champions, quickly becoming the Applebee's bar at 1 a.m. Well, Athletic Director Rick George released a statement yesterday, along with Chancellor Phil DeStefano, in which they said, well, not much. USC and UCLA leaving the Pac-12 is a disappointment. We remain resolute in our commitment to student athletes. They love to hit that note. And they've, quote, been in communication with fellow universities and conference leadership to figure out the future. Well, here's the future the way I see it. Either you figure out how to weasel your way into the Big Ten, you tuck your tail and return to the Big 12, or you take your place among your actual peers in the Mountain West, because the Pac-12 is done. It's dead. All right, Rockies, the floor is yours. Everything else is done. You've got center stage in the Colorado sports world all for yourself. Snakes in town for Fireworks Friday. Jose Iglesias. Oh, looking like Darcy Kemper out there. Heck of a pickup at short. Kemper doesn't need to throw, though. Ryan McMahon launching a no-doubter in the 7th, then in the 8th. This is a cool moment. Charlie Blackmon on his birthday. The big fly. Happy birthday, Chuck. Unfortunately, couldn't get him a win on his special day. Arizona gets the W 9-3. Tough go of it for the boys in purple. Rockies now 11 games under 500. Last place in the NL West with a -73 run differential. But hey, at least Coors Field is fun. Enjoy your weekend.
Nick, thank you. A heads up for drivers now across Colorado. 2 major stretches of highway could now cost you more. Where, when, and how much you'll have to pay. Plus, good news for Coloradans looking to clean up their credit reports. The changes to paying off medical debt that could lighten your load.